All right. Yay, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Mhm.
I'm here tonight with more level three QHHT practitioners. I have so much fun with these conversations. So tonight with me, I have Abeer El Sayed from Scottsdale, Phoenix, right? And Tony Alexander from San Diego. And so they're joining me. And let's see, what is our topic tonight is dun, 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 the heart of the night, finding light in your deepest fears. And we're exploring the soul's darkest moments with love. Ooh, yikes. It sounds scary, doesn't it? And I kind of intentionally made a scary little visual for us, like a dark forest and all of that. But it's really kind of just an ordinary, normal part of the human equation is tragedies and traumas and challenges and hurt feelings and bad feelings. So we're going to get into it. And, the three of us, we're in contact with the universe every day in session. And so we'll share what we know for you. So let's go ahead and get some introductions going. So, Abir, can you introduce yourself and really share with the audience how did you get into all of this stuff? How did you find Dolores QHHT, and what made you take the leap?
Oh, wow. That's a big question. Um, my name is Abeer Said, and I'm a level 3 QHHT practitioner. And how I tumble on this, I can't believe it. I grew up, I'm an Egyptian, and I grew up, this is like a no-no. What's incarnation? We only live one time. And here I am in Egypt. Um, I think it was 2016. And here I am watching this Dolores scan and talking about incarnation and talking about after death and all this beautiful stuff. And I'm like, oh, this is so resonating with me. I want to learn this. I want to do this. And I was going in and out of it. Basically, do I do such a thing? That's against my religion, against what I learned. Before you know it, I felt like the gate has opened to that world.
Oh.
And here I am. I took level 1, level 2, and it was a whole world that I just fell in. It resonated so good with me, and I'm so happy for that moment. But
So
go ahead.
are you saying that before you saw Dolores, you didn't even believe in reincarnation?
That's a no-no. We only
Wow.
have one life, and this is it. And there's
Uh-huh.
heaven and hell. And then if you
Uh-huh.
don't do good, then you're gonna be, living in hell for the rest of your life and all kind of stuff. I grew up in Saudi Arabia. I lived in a very closed and religious type of lifestyle. And then talking about incarnation, talking about living many lives, that you have many, many lives, that you were a man, a woman, a rock, a tree. How can you explain that to my people? I still struggle even to this point, to this
Yeah.
day, that many years later. But it's nothing more beautiful than really connect with what is, and that's true. Which is
Yeah.
you're not this one physical body.
Yeah.
There's so many things. How do you evolve? How can a human evolve if they live only one life?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they sit there and backstage waiting for all humanity to die and meet again for
Yeah.
Judgment Day.
Yeah. Wow. So that was I mean, honestly, Abir, that's like the biggest awakening that I've ever heard of. The biggest shift that I've ever heard of just, a lot of people, like at least that grew up in the States, it's like, well, maybe I believe this much of Christianity and that much of atheism and this much of spirituality. And, usually most of us are exposed to like different TV shows and stuff that might be, like Ancient Aliens or whatever TV shows that are exploring that kind of thing. And so when you hear Dolores for the first time talk about, past lives and talk chit-chatting with Nostradamus and those kinds of things, it's like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, okay. But yours was like, Must have
Immediately.
exploded your brain.
Immediately. It was like I
Yeah.
said, it was like a divine moment. It was like, okay, boom, connection immediate. Like if I got plugged to the source and he said, okay, remember who you are. And that was my remembering.
Wow. That's
Amazing.
profound. That's really profound.
Yeah.
Wow. I had no idea. Wow. Way cool. Way cool. And so now you're doing this, like this
And
is
now
your
I'm doing
life.
this, and I and I
Yeah.
feel like if this is like if I am Dolores in every session, because it's like wow, and I try to connect the dot with every session, like yeah, this is makes sense. This is what happened to you, because
Yeah.
also some people who come to me, they don't believe in incarnation.
Mhm.
So coming from that end of it,
Mhm.
myself
Mhm.
at one point, I
Mhm.
can relate to how they feel because they probably have some sort of a programming happen to them as their child, or it's all based on programming. We're just a bunch of
Right.
programmed people
Right.
walking around.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Friends, beliefs, and in your environment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. So
I just
welcome tonight then. Oh
thank
my
you, thank you.
goodness. Boy, talk about tonight's topic. You're
Yeah.
like, woohoo. This is a line. All right, Tony, introduce yourself and how did you get into all of this? How did you find Dolores? How did you find QHHT? What made you take the leap?
Well, my name's Tony Alexander. I'm born and raised in Rhode Island, but I've been living in San Diego for the past 16 years now. Well, look, it's kind of similar to Abeer. I found Dolores on YouTube around 2019. And to that point in my life, have been blessed with psychic abilities, very intuitive, empathic, but it was always such a dark secret of mine and never
Oh,
talked to it about any of it to anyone, even my mother, who I got these gifts from. I didn't feel comfortable or even sane think or talking about it out loud.
uh-huh.
And then I discovered Dolores, her death after life video, and she put so many beautiful things together.
Mm,
I was in awe, like I'll never forget. Because to that, in that point, also I was struggling with in my life. I was doing construction for the past 4 years. I had quit school because it just wasn't working out. I wasn't excited to do those things that I thought I loved. I've always wanted to help people, but that was nothing was fitting. Nothing is. I was really at like my wits end, so to speak. And I was like,
mm,
God, give me something because
mm,
I've had it. Like, is
mm,
this what my life is going to be? I don't want this, and this makes no sense, and I'm so unhappy. And watching that video changed everything. I kind of went down the rabbit hole after her death after life video. I was like, give me more. She has 17 books published. I was like, let's read them. And I found out she has this school in Arkansas. I was like, this is a thing. I can help people. And even in that point, I didn't believe in hypnosis. Before that, I always thought hypnosis was just an acting.
yeah. Mhm.
And so I took the leap of faith because I was like, I know this woman is speaking from the heart and I'm just going to go with it. So I went to my partner at the time. I was like, listen, I want to borrow some money. I figured out what I'm going to do with my life. And then fast forward 6 years later, here I am, a level 3. And I am such a believer. I am so happy.
Mhm.
I feel so fulfilled.
Mhm.
I have my passion in life and I'm ready to take on more.
Yeah.
It's
That's
just,
awesome. That's awesome. And that's kind of the way I felt after so I was lucky enough to find Dolores when she was still living and got to go to a weekend seminar with her. I was a total skeptic. I didn't think hypnosis was going to work on me. Hypnosis worked on other people, but not me. And then of course, had a profound experience. And that was the moment. I'm like, oh, I know what I'm doing for the rest of my life. Okay. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So I get it. I get that feeling. Yeah. Oh, I know what I'm doing for the rest of my life. Yeah. Yeah. It is so profound. So profound. All right. So tonight is kind of a heavy subject, right? It's not all, rainbows and kittens. It's not all fun and fuzzy, nor is life, right? Have you guys had your own dark night of the soul? I mean, it kind of sounds like it with just what you brought here, but have you faced tragedy or trauma and had to like go into even deeper depths to get yourself out? Tony, what about you? It sounds like that might have been what was happening when when you came to QHHT, right?
Many traumas, honestly, and I think the biggest one for me recently, these past couple of years, has been the death of my cousin.
Mm.
She passed. It's going to be 2 years now, coming next December, and it was unexpected, and it really, really hit home. That was the first major loss in my life.
Mhm.
And at that point, like, even though like I know what I know and the thing and the work that we do, I know how it works. It was still such a grieving process.
Mm.
Even to this day, into this moment, if I lean into it, I feel myself getting emotional already.
Mhm.
It's just, yeah, that was definitely a dark night
Mhm.
for my soul. Something that's taken me time. It's taken me some therapy, and it's taken me to ask for help.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now imagine not knowing what you know and going through that experience,
Oh gosh,
right?
that'd be even harder.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you have your psychic abilities as a kid?
They were stronger as a kid, and then I kind
Oh.
of lost them a little as my
Mhm.
teenage years and my youth,
Mhm.
20s, and then as soon as I started getting into this work, all of a sudden they back
Mhm.
online and they're
Mhm.
full
Yeah.
throttle. So
Yeah. Wow. And even as a little kid, you wouldn't share what you were knowing or seeing with anybody.
I was never comfortable. No one ever else talked about these things that I was seeing, feeling, hearing, dreaming about. I would have premonitions in my dreams, and anytime the dream happened twice, it came true.
Mhm.
I've seen numerous entities. I feel things. I mean, anytime. Oh, the biggest one was my empathic abilities. Anytime I was in big crowds, I would start having a panic attack immediately. I just could not be around so much energy, so much feelings.
Mhm.
It took a long time to really center myself and
Mhm.
navigate it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that alone, aloneness, that loneliness in that ability too. I mean, you might could say that that was a little bit of dark night as well, right?
It is. It's just, and just like it's, we're human. We're gonna go through this experience one way or another, and it was just about being okay with where she is and not having her in my life anymore.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Abeer, have you had something that you might refer to as a dark night, a dark time?
Did I? Boy, did I have one. um, Came to America when I was a teenager 40 years ago, and coming from extreme to extreme culture, that was really dramatic for me and my family. Being a girl,
Mhm.
covered from head to toe, and then coming to more of mixed culture. And then later on in my life, I worked for the Department of Defense, and I went to work for when Iraq war broke, and then seeing the destruction and all of that stuff. So coming from Arabic culture to American culture, back to the Arabic culture, and seeing
Yeah.
all of it.
Mhm. And
Um,
war on top of all of
I
that.
mean, yes, and seeing it all and seeing it in the worst way you can imagine. And then a lot of questioning came, like, who am I? Why this is happening? Because now I'm carrying the Western culture and the Middle Eastern culture, and the polarity and the hates and the completely misunderstanding of one another. And
Mhm.
it's purely fear and control. So I remember really screaming and crying. It's like, why is this happening? And I think this is the worst ever time in my life, because I want to take my life. I didn't feel like this is right. This is something is wrong. It was really tough. I never understood what that meant then.
Mhm.
Now being in this world, it's like,
Mhm.
oh, that is the time when you're facing your soul deepest vulnerability.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
want to know who you are.
Yeah.
And that's when I found Dolores. That's when the door opened, the gate opened to this type of understanding, the pure love and that we all won.
Yeah. Yeah. There, talking about that, the whole cultural divide and the hate and war, we're kind of in the middle of that right now too, right? In the US anyway, and other places in the world. Yeah, and just I have to talk to my kids about this. My kids are 33 and 31, so I mean, they're big people. And just this, it's so easy for both of them to start the doom scrolling, right? To get on social media and just all the hate, all the vitriol, and like just immerse themselves in that. And that just feeds it, right?
Exactly.
That just makes it worse. And I keep trying to tell them, like, you got to take care of your mental health just as much as you take care of your physical health. And that means not feeding your brain that kind of stuff. But you had a job where you had to be in the middle of it.
I literally saw people being blown up, innocent. And then people, they're like my people. I call these people my people. And I'm getting super hot now, feeling this energy. But can you imagine? And it's not because who you are and what you are, it's just seeing something taking place in front of you. So it's just the dark versus the light.
Yeah.
And then really, if you think about it, we're just not communicating well. That's all that is. It's really. So it's like you're having a war within yourself as well. Am I doing the right thing? And that's what the dark night of the soul is. It's like you're in a battle.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What am I doing? And people suppress themselves and go into drugs and alcohol and take their life because they're distraught.
Right.
And they don't know how to talk about it. Just like what Tony said when he had his psychic ability. If you talk about it, they shut you down. It's like, you can't say that. It's like a lot of suppression.
Yeah.
And it comes from ignorance, and it comes from so many things, actually.
Yeah. And I think that might be a little different now because maybe right now we could benefit from some suppression.
True.
Like everybody feels like they have a righteous platform to scream about.
True. Because the shift is happening already now in masses. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that, Abeer, because it's a good reminder of, well, everything outside of us is a reflection of us back to us. And so if that's broken, then there's something in here, right?
Exactly.
That needs healed. And guess who we're in control of?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
And I believe everything is in divine timing. I mean, I was in that situation, so I can be aware of it. And how can I heal myself and my own wound and my own belief and help the people all around me?
Yeah.
So from being in that culture, being born in that culture and coming to this culture, now I know both, and I can mediate and know where they're coming from and where they're coming from. And it's language barrier.
Yeah.
I think you don't like me because you want to control me, and vice versa. And we become this like,
Yeah. We've got a question in the chat here for Tony. So Marguerite says, did you face religious challenges in doing what you're doing, in becoming a QHHT practitioner?
Not really, but I've had a big influence from a lot of different religions. Like my grandmother is Jehovah's Witness. My mother raised us somewhat Catholic. I have family members that are Jewish, so it's a mix of everything. But ever since I was a kid and I knew religion, I did not like it. I hated church. I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to be a part of it. I didn't understand it. I didn't believe in Jesus. There was a lot of stuff I didn't like. And coming into this work, it opened me up so much to finally understand, like, people are where they are. If that's what they believe, that's okay. Love them and respect them for who they are. You have your own beliefs, they have theirs now. And you just have to understand that and be more understanding.
Yeah. That's cool. That's way cool. Yeah. I had a client just last week who, this is always like a huge red flag. So we had a long conversation before we even started the session. But he plops down in my office, and the first thing he said, I said, so I always say, "Oh, how'd you find me?" Just to, open the conversation. And he and he plops down and he goes, "Well, my wife sent me here." And I'm like, "This is not going to be a good session." But we chatted, and he's no, he was there of his own volition. It was just, his wife knew Dolores Cannon and all of that, but he had never watched any of that. And I love how, and he was very Christian. He went to a fundamentalist Christian church, and we had a beautiful conversation, like the first 15 minutes of his session, about orienting what we know through QHHT to his viewpoint as this fundamentalist Christian. And I'm like, it's kind of all the same thing, right? And then the session goes on, and in the session, he had a lot of advice from the higher self about forgiveness, self-forgiveness. And so he had this layer of guilt and shame, which the Christian church is wonderful at putting on top of you. And over and over again, the higher self is talking about how he needs to forgive himself on different subjects, right? With this person, with that person, with this situation, he needs to forgive himself. He needs to forgive himself. And so we're chit-chatting after the session, and I said, I had to say to him, I said, I thought that was the whole point of Jesus, that he was here to forgive you. Like he was here to, help you forgive yourself. And so it was really cool because I was able to take what little bit of Christianity I know. I'm absolutely not a scholar, but I was able to take the entire QHHT session and start to finish apply a Christian lens to it. So it didn't affect and in fact, in the end, it may have enhanced, because we can make that connection, right, to Jesus's words and what the higher self was telling him. It that those things could be aligned. That it was like you just said, Abeer. It was the language. It's the same thing, but it's just we use different words to say the same thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, fascinating, fascinating. Okay, so Tony, you're still pulling yourself out of this dark night with your cousin, right? With the loss and the grief. How are you doing it? Like what works for you?
I talk to her. I talk to her, and anytime I have a sad moment, I allow myself to feel that.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's time to be productive again and go out about my day. She wouldn't want me being sad for her. She's in such a better place. Um, you guys know that. We all know that. And has had a really, really hard time before she departed. A really hard time in life. So I would never want her to go through that again. And one of my biggest things was just regret of not being there for her, not
Mm-hmm.
being more a part of her life.
And so then needing to forgive yourself for that,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
there you go. And of course, I hear for her. She's like, "Let it go. I don't care." And that's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Way cool. Way cool.
Beautiful.
Yeah. How about you, Abeer? What advice? Like, how did you pull yourself out? What'd you do?
I think the work of Dolores and all the work that we do and understanding who we are, and it's really understanding what love is, because love is forgiveness. How can you forgive when you don't know what that is? I think coming in from an inner, softer being, that we all one and they're all connected. There is no Christianity, there is no Judaism, there is no Islamic. We all one. This is all labels and names that we make up, just like my name is Abeer, your name is Holly, but at the end, we're one.
Right.
So I take the work of beautiful Dolores to the Middle East, and I challenge the resistance, because now I know how to approach it and give it a try. It's like, let's give it a try and see what happens, because there's no way you could make this up. There's no way you can make this up.
Right.
When you dream and you come up and this dream was so vivid, there's no way you could have made it up. It's exactly that. So I transform fear and understanding who I am and my struggle with who I am because of the culture polarity that I was dealing with, to heal the world by just being an understanding and being loving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I love that. It's so let's go there. I love no pun intended. I love how you described love and how important that is to healing. But when you start getting into this kind of work or just spirituality in general, truth, I should say, when you start getting into truth, the whole concept of love, like for me, shifted completely. And in weird ways, like, before I really understood the truth, how I understand it now through QHHT, um, oh, I love my kid. Of course I love my kids. I would die for my kids, right? If it came down to Holly, either your daughter has to die or you die. Well, that's a no-brainer, right? And thinking that that's love, right? Um, or just wanting to be with someone. That's thinking that that's love, right? And none of that's love. That's not love. That's
That's
just,
pure material love, actually.
yeah,
Even loving your daughter,
yeah,
that's a pure material attachment love.
exactly, exactly. Yeah, it's the monkey suit,
Yeah.
right? It's the primate, right?
Yes, yes.
And then when you really understand love from the true standpoint, it's an energy. It isn't even an emotion. It's like
Exactly.
it's this immersive, it's like the ocean, right? It's just like this giant immersive energy. And when you're in it, yeah, like you said, Abeer, everything's one. Like you don't separate. Like I don't love my daughter more than I love, Joe Schmo on the sidewalk because we're all immersed in the same ocean. Like it's
Yeah.
silly to think about separation like that. If you're really in the energy of love, then it's like there's not even a separation between people and there's not even a separation between me and the water cup, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's all in the same
It's
ocean.
hard to comprehend, but I believe if we can remove the judgment, that is when its love exists.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're constantly in judgment. We judge
Mm-hmm.
everything all day long.
Mm-hmm.
Right, wrong, black and white, short, tall. If
Right?
we just would be aware of that judgment, that is pure essence of love.
Yeah.
When you look at everything neutral, very neutral.
Yeah. Which includes tragedies and traumas and celebrations and happiness,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
When you stop judging the hard day as a hard day
Mhm.
and you start loving
What
the
it was,
challenge
how
and
it
the hard
was. Yeah.
day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
This
that's
reminds me of a session I had not too long ago. This client was in the darkness, and I was helping him navigate through that. And he came across a disfigured individual. And he's like, Tony, I don't want to approach it or him. I get this feeling of disgust. And I sensed that coming off. I was like, but I knew immediately. I knew immediately that this individual he was seeing was actually himself. And
Mhm.
so I was encouraging him to to approach it with love. And I was like, if I saw somebody on the street and they needed help, even if they were disheveled or whatever, I'd find it in my heart to help them. I think you should do the same here.
Mhm.
And he was like, okay, okay. A few minutes pass. All of a sudden, I am hit with this energy, this warm feelings of unconditional love, forgiveness tied into it. And he's like, I got closer to the person and I was trying to help them and they disappeared and they're light. It's all light now.
Oh,
How,
he
how
accepted himself.
yes.
Yeah. Well, and he had to see the disfigured self in order to see the self as light.
I
Yeah.
love that too.
And it's all the same thing. The
Yeah.
disfigured person and the light are all the same thing. Wow. That's awesome. I love that story. That's awesome. That's way cool. Yeah. Yeah. And just like what we were talking about with the war, right, Abeer? I mean, you see the bombings or the whatever, and it's like, oh, that's the same as me.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
that's the same as light.
mhm.
Destruction and light, yin and yang, they go together. I mean, no one absolutely, don't misunderstand me. No one's condoning bombing anyone. But it's okay, I think, to approach horror, number one, as Tony just said, approach horror. No, don't shy away from it. Don't not look because it exists. But then number two, recognize that that's God too, right? That's
Mhm,
love too.
mhm.
It's all one and the same. It's
Very
not,
true.
love isn't just rainbows and kittens, right? Love is the disfigured person as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Ooh, okay, so let's see what chats we've got with that one. Okay, there's some hearts, there's some red hearts. So some people are getting it. Some people are getting it. So Shelley asks for you again, Tony, this story with the disfigured person. So why did he need to see that? Like, what was his outcome for I think she's asking what was his outcome? Like, what was that part of healing? Like, why
That was
did they show him?
that was part of healing, and that was him loving the parts of himself he did not like. This was a
Mm.
client that was struggling with addiction, so he had many,
Oh.
many layers of
Mhm,
hatred towards himself
mhm,
because he knew he is like, I could have done this with my life, I could have done that, but here I
mhm,
am, and I chose these things, and I am suffering now because of it.
Mhm,
mhm,
So that disfigurement was definitely a representation of the parts of
mhm.
himself he did not like.
That he didn't like. Yeah, really good. Very good. And there's so much of that with addiction, I think, is that guilt and shame of self, that seeing self as disfigured. Yeah. Wow. And now he saw himself as light. That's way cool. That's way cool. So I came to Dolores through tragedy as well. Not like a beer did, but um, um, so this was late 2012. My son had been arrested for DUI, and we were living in Phoenix at the time, Abeer.
Oh,
And how long have you been in Phoenix? So what year did you move there?
1997. I
Okay.
lived
Oh,
in
that's
the
the
East
same
Coast
year
for
I
a
moved
while.
there.
Yeah.
Okay. So you remember Sheriff Joe Arpaio,
Yes.
okay? And Tent Cities. That's where my 19-year-old son was. Yeah. He was in Tent City. And for first offense DUI. And absolutely, was he doing something wrong? Should he have been driving? Absolutely not. But he spent 21 days in Tent City. And my son, who we now know, this is his first incarnation on earth. He is a volunteer. I mean, he's a pure soul. I'm not sure. I can't remember if this is his first incarnation ever, but he's a pure soul. So very loving, naive kind of person, not a street savvy kind of person. And there he is in Tent City with murderers and rapists and all kinds of people all thrown together
Wow.
for 21 days. And I can't visit him. I can't see him. We can have an occasional phone call, and that's it. And so in one of the phone calls, and of course, I'm a nervous wreck, right? I'm pacing the floor. I'm pulling my hair out. I'm an absolute wreck. And because I know how dangerous this situation is, and both physically and emotionally. And so in one of the phone calls, he says, "Hey, Mom, I found this book I think you'd really like." And it was Convoluted Universe Book 4 from Dolores. I'd never heard of Dolores before. I wouldn't have. Um, and so I'm like, oh, okay, and so Amazon, click, just to get have a conversation, read the book and to be able to have a conversation with him next time we had a conversation. And I start reading this book and I'm like, oh my God, everything I've ever believed in my entire life. And here it is in print, and I've never seen it in print before. And so then I was just devouring her books and devouring her books. So then he gets out, and that was in December. And she would do these weekend seminars where she'd do the group regressions. And as they were a lot of fun because at least at this one, we went to Sacramento for it, and there was like maybe 100 people in a hotel ballroom, and she's putting everybody into hypnosis simultaneously, right? And I'm there, and I'm like, okay, well, this isn't going to work on me, but that's okay. I had so much respect for her writing. Like I had questions for her about, you know, her research, right? But I just knew that hypnosis wasn't going to work with me on me. And my son was there with me, so he was able to receive that experience as well too from Dolores. And so of course we first hypnosis we go into, I'm in a past life. I know it's not my imagination. I know, that this is profound. And that's when I was like, I know what I'm doing for the rest of my life. But then when she first brought us out, I was like, oh my God, this works. This really works. Like I'm going to run up to the stage and tell Dolores, did you know this works? By the way, I know nobody's ever told you that before, but I just want to tell you, like, oh my gosh, it was so profound. But my son and I, so that was what, 14 years ago, 14 years ago. Wow. And no, 15 years ago. Sorry, 15 years ago, 2012. Well, 2013, beginning of 2013. So what is that? 12 years ago. And my son and I laugh about it now because he says, Mom, that's the only reason I had to go to jail was so you could find Dolores. And I'm like, I know. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
How cute.
So, I mean, but it took, right, 12 years, maybe not quite 12, but it took that long for the healing process to realize that was this tragedy of him being in this very dangerous place was the universe bringing me to where I needed to be and him giving me that gift, right?
Wow.
So even in the darkest nights and even in the darkest tragedies, and just like Tony, just like your client with the disfigured person, there's like at the end of it, someday, somewhere, it's like, oh, I'm so glad that happened. Where would I have been without that tragedy?
I
Right?
love it when I hear that from clients. When they can take something so ugly or horrible or traumatic in their life and say, it's a blessing now. And I got this from it. I learned from this. I am this because of that. That to me is
Yeah.
really,
Yeah. Yeah. I had a client who, she wasn't in her session healing from cancer. She had already healed from it, but she told me, she said cancer was the best thing that ever happened to her because that's what brought her to her transformation. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah. All right. So if someone out there listening is going through the dark night, what advice do you have for them? Abeer?
Face it. Sit with it and absolutely face it. Your dark night is fear of something. You're seeking something. Just sit with it and find out what it is and face it and handle it with courage. There's nothing worse. Nothing can go wrong really when you face your fear of what is, what if.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in the power of prayer. I say pray, go within, and definitely ask for help. But all of us, there's so many things in life that we go through and we can't do it alone. Ask for help. Talk to someone.
Yeah. And you mean, Tony, you mean spiritual help?
Spiritual, or whether it even be,
Earthly help. Yeah. 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 So many times, a client will be in session and we'll be unraveling. Of course, on their list of questions is like, well, why did that have to happen? Why did I do that? Why did this person do this to me or whatever? Unraveling some sort of bad experience in their past. And so many times the higher self will say, well, we were there, we were with him, we've been with him, we were helping him in this way. and but we feel so alone, right? But there's spiritual help there. There really is. Yeah.
Because of the separation, because we don't see it, so we don't know it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get trapped into the self
Mm-hmm.
and the fear, and then you just spiral down. So that's why I'm saying, when you face it via prayers, via seeking help, but don't be alone in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I like that, Abeer, the facing fears. And I wonder, like I've got a 2-year-old granddaughter, and so I'm really, now that I'm on this side of I was totally not awake when I was a mom, but now I get to be awake as a grandma, right? And I think about this as she's growing up, and societally, there's been, maybe after my kids, maybe not so much in the 90s when they were little, but maybe in the last 15 or 20 or 25 years, and especially, well, the COVID years, um, this movement to like be really protective of children, just like super focused on the safety. I mean, I saw this thing online the other day, and it's this little vest that you put on the babies, and it has like a little pillow behind their head. And the baby's just supposed to walk around with this little vest thing on so that if they fall backwards, they'll land on the pillow and not hurt their head. And it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm just old school, but it's like, what? 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 Humans are designed to be able to waddle around and toddle and fall, this far to the ground and not get permanently injured. That their heads are designed to take care of itself. But this idea that, we have to keep our kids super safe. And I see that in my granddaughter, and it's like, no, let's give her some challenges, let's let her do some things that are super scary. And I mean safely, right? Not that I'm not going to let her play with a butcher knife or whatever, but it's okay if she walks around in the grass and there might be a thorn, that she gets in her foot or whatever when she's barefooted. And it's okay for there to be dangers out there, because doesn't that teach you how to approach fears,
And you
right?
become resilient. You don't even have fear. When you're overprotective, you're actually programming fear.
Right. And more fragile. Yeah. Yeah. And so I don't wonder if some of the existential crises that some of our 20 somethings are going through is because they were overprotected as a child, that they weren't allowed to get a thorn in their foot or, scrape a knee on a bicycle or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. Just
That's an
theory.
interesting topic because you're right, and I do feel a lot of these new souls, especially the younger kids, they're super sensitive,
Hmm.
but it just tells me that they're woke,
Yeah.
whatever way they might be.
Yeah. Yeah. But is there a skill to facing fears? Like, do you have to learn how to face fears? And could there be someone that doesn't even understand how to go about doing that? I maybe so. Maybe there's someone who's been
Probably.
so sheltered their whole life that they've literally never had to face a fear.
When you
But
think about fear, what is fear? Isn't fear, it's an assumption?
Hmm.
What if, but
Hmm.
why are you even putting that possibility?
Hmm.
yeah, an illusion, right?
It's an absolute shadow illusion, no existence to it. It's a thought form that we are creating. And
Hmm.
yes, you keep thinking about it, absolutely it's going to happen.
Hmm.
Definitely. I don't
Then
think
you're building a library of fear, and then you say, well, this happened, would that happen? Well, you created all of that because of your own powerful thought.
and you
Hmm.
can avoid it as much as you want, but it'll take shape some way or another. We all have
Yeah.
fears that we have to go through.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it's also just a artifact of scale, right?
Mhm.
And if you never had to face the big, I mean, you think about like, I think about like my grandparents who went through World War II, right? And what those guys on the front lines went through and that, and the kind of fear that they had to live through. Um, that it's like beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? You can't measure someone else's fear on a scale because maybe the World War II guy watching a bomb blow up next to him wasn't as scary as someone today, having losing a job or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. I teach this course on shadow, and a part of the psychotherapy that I was trained in is this. It's called existential therapy, and it's focused on the four existential fears, and then the fact that there's a gift on the other side of the fear if you walk through it. So the four fears are, first is the fear of death. We all face that, right? And then, of course, the gift on the other side of facing your fear of death is the appreciation for life, right? If you don't have death, you can't have an appreciation for life. And then the second one is the fear of meaninglessness, so not having purpose. And of course, the gift is purpose if you walk through that fear. And then the third one is the fear of unmet obligations. So thinking that you were responsible for something and that you didn't step up to it when it was really not your responsibility in the first place. And so then the gift on the other side of that is freedom. And then the last one is the fear of isolation. And of course, the gift on the other side of that is connection. So it's this idea that if you face your fears, there's a gift on the other side of it because you can't, again, yin yang symbol, dark light, right? You can't receive those gifts, the gifts of life, appreciating life, the gift of freedom, the gift of connection, or any of those if you don't have the associated fear with them. The fear brings you to the appreciation, right? So I think about that too in terms of the facing your fear as a part of the dark night. Yeah. And what are you really afraid of? Like, what's the worst possible thing that can happen? You die. I mean, the three of us know, okay, whatever, I changed shape.
Yeah.
Like Dolores said, that's as easy as getting up from one chair and into another. So
when you face your fear, you become resilience. You become a love bomb, really, because that's what holds us back. And that's what all our clients come because something is holding them back, right? They're coming to understand who they are, what are they here, why are this stuff is happening in their life, what is all this blockages, why they have this bad relationship, why, and they put next to the why is fear. That's like, am I doing something wrong? Am I not good enough? Right? Do you even love yourself enough?
Right. Oh, there's one. Yeah. Yeah. And there's some serious cultural programming there too.
Yeah. And trust me, everything is beneath it is that love. That's why the fear is there.
Yeah.
My fear has definitely made me more confident. That was my gift, confidence.
Beautiful. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Way cool. Way cool. All right. Let's see. What else? Should you avoid dark nights of the soul, going into your deepest fears? Should you avoid trauma and tragedy, looking at it? Is there any benefit to that?
If I may, this reminds me of when I was in my youth, I'd have these bouts of depression. I really wouldn't even know what they were about. Honestly, if I look back at it, I can see just a lot of family issues there. Not feeling accepted, not being a part. But more it's more so clear now looking back at it that there was me just giving into it too much.
Oh.
Get to take over.
Mhm.
I don't, I don't do that anymore. Anytime I
Mhm.
do have something I'm not happy about,
Mhm.
I'll feel it, and then I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
this is not going to consume me. I still have so much things to do. I'm going to stay in that positive mindset. I'm going to go outside, enjoy the nature, and get some fresh air. I'm going to do things for myself that'll help me feel better.
Mhm.
I really don't allow myself to sulk anymore.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. It's kind of like what I was talking about with my kids, like doing the doom scrolling and just like getting sucked into that. Yeah.
So many of my friends are like, I'm so depressed because I'm watching too much news. I'm like, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop watching that news. It's not
Oh
healthy.
my gosh. How many times does the higher self say, turn off the TV?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Turn off the TV. Why are you watching that? Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So you can go looking for tragedy, and that's not healthy. Yeah. Yeah. Very good. But I would also say if it's 2 inches from your nose, like if you're doom scrolling and it's something that happened, a million miles away and, 50 years ago or whatever, um, if it isn't, how does the higher self puts this so much better? Um, if if it if you're going searching for it and it isn't a part of your life, is it yours? However, if it's been brought to you, it's yours, right? So there's this fine line of, I'm just going to scream and yell and protest because I'm angry and I don't like what I see. Maybe that was brought to you and you should attend to that. Or maybe you're just getting sucked in
Yeah,
and it isn't yours. Yeah. Yeah.
two sides to that coin.
Yeah. And it's a fine line, right?
Absolutely. And I
Right.
definitely feel like, history is so important. There's so many things we look back in time that we've learned as a society, as cultures, that's good to me.
Mhm. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to take a couple more questions here from our audience. Before I do that, though, Abeer, how do people reach you if they wanted to schedule a session in the Phoenix area, metropolitan area? I think you're the only level 3 in Phoenix anymore, right?
I
Right.
think Eric is still here
Oh, is
between
she?
here and
Okay.
Carson.
Okay.
I think. I'm
Right.
not sure. But
Okay.
they can reach me at heavenlyenergyhealing.com and or through Dolores Cannon. If they don't remember the name, they can go on the Dolores Cannon and you find me in Arizona.
Very good. How did you come up with that? Heavenly healing.
You're not going to believe it. I was driving and I was asking my higher self, what is the name? What's the name? And it just came. I had to, because I want to do something spiritually, like it's not mine. I'm only a facilitator.
Mhm.
So do I say divine? People say God, I was avoiding that. And it says heavenly. And it was so beautiful. So I pulled over, picked up my phone, and I recorded the name.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
So it's heavenlyhealing.com or heavenly healing light?
Heavenly energy healing.com.
Heavenly energy healing. Okay. Heavenlyenergyhealing.com. Go find Abeer if you're in
Go
Phoenix
find a beer.
or you want to go to Phoenix. All right. Tony, how do people get a hold of you?
So they can find me on my website, www.sandiegoqhht.com. My my email address is info@sandiegoqhht.com.
All
Yeah.
right. Very good. Very good. And well, if you're on this channel, then you know how to connect with me. So AwareCare Durango, and that's Durango, Colorado. And I also just want to put a plug in again for that monthly live, YouTube live group regression that we do. And so I named the group Dolores Cannon Fans.
I love
So
that.
if you're a Dolores Cannon fan, join the group, and it's $4.99 a month, so half the price of a Starbucks. And I stay absolutely true. Every month we do a different Dolores Cannon script, and it's a group regression script straight out of her library. We do different ones in different months for different intentions and different reasons. And then those are recorded for members to go back and journey again and over and over and over again. So like, for example, one of them that she did a lot was a meeting your spirit guide. And so meeting a member of your spirit team. And so if you remember, then we would do that live, but then you could go back, almost every day of the month and go back and go, oh, let me meet all my spirit team and go meet different guides. So it's recorded for you to be able to interact with it over and over and over again. So that's a lot of fun. So that's it. Dolores Cannon fans on my YouTube channel as a membership. All right, so let's see. Let's wrap up questions. Okay, so lots and lots of thank yous and hearts. And people wanted to know how to find you, Abeer. Got that. Yeah, I think that's it. Just lots of thanks and congratulations and good show. So awesome. All right,
Yeah.
Abeer, any final words on how to face your fears, how to find light in your deepest fears?
Just know that you are light. Just know that you're a divine spark of light. There's just no doubt. So just live that light. Face it. When I say face it, I have a pimple. So when I put my makeup, it's like, where did you come from? Instead of hiding it, yeah, they don't like it, but find out what happened, what caused it, what stress are you under. So face it. Have a conversation with your inner self. Because there's nothing can harm you. You have an army of angels, your higher self, a lot of ascended masters. I mean, we are so supported since the moment we were incarnated. So enjoy life. Leave the fear. Dump it in the toilet and flush it down.
Yeah. We all really are an eternal being. So
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Tony, what words of wisdom do you have for someone who is finding the light in their
Honestly,
fears?
you said it so perfectly. Follow her advice.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Am I going to see either one of you in North Carolina at the
Unfortunately,
QHHT
not this
reunion?
year.
No.
Not this time.
No,
Sorry.
okay. All right. So get this. So I'm going. So my hometown is Knoxville, Tennessee. So that's just the other side of the mountain from Asheville. So I get to see my parents but my husband is riding his motorcycle from Durango, Colorado to Knoxville, Tennessee. And then I'm going to get on the motorcycle and then we're going to go to Asheville and go to the retreat.
Oh, lovely.
We'll be showing up to the retreat on the back of a motorcycle.
I love it. Take videos and pictures.
Well, I'm sure there'll be plenty of other people doing that.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, hopefully I'll get to see you soon, maybe at the next reunion. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Holly, again,
Thank you, Holly.
All right. Thank you for today.